Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Back to the Future 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Now today we are taking a look at none other than Doc Brown himself, based off his appearance in the first movie. My personal favourite of the three. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, does it necessarily scream Doc Brown? No, I don't think it does. It more so screams DeLorean. Why is there no image of Doc Brown front and center holding the remote control with the DeLorean in the background? Well, not entirely sure, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't working for me. It's an iconic scene, plus I love the DeLorean. Up top, Back to the Future, down below Doc Brown, and some dates and times. On the side of the box, the rest of the Twin Pines Mall scene, plus Back to the Future Out of Time Tour 85. If you're wondering why there's a hover-converted DeLorean on a Back to the Future 1 figure, well, don't forget, at the end of the movie, we saw the hover-converted DeLorean in all its glory. Up the top on the back, Back to the Future, the DeLorean and the flux capacitor, then front and center all of the warnings and legal info overlaid over this kind of comic-style image of the backs of both Marty and Doc Brown. On the inside, do we have artwork of Doc Brown? No, we don't. It's the DeLorean once again. This time it's traveling through time, and of course, those dates and times from the front of the box are printed up above. Now, unfortunately, this guy has been very divisive. Now, does that mean that you should either run out and grab him or simply pass? Well, y'all will have to make that decision throughout the course of the video. First in-hand impressions are, this body is surprisingly heavier and much more padded than I was expecting. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, it's almost as though we've gone back in time. I am so sorry I had to. It's an old school oval style display base. Up top, Back to the Future, a very vivid print. Then around the front, Dr. Emmett Brown. If you're wondering, hey, why did they go with the oval base? This is so retro. Well, that's because they released Marty from Back to the Future 1 ages ago when this style of display base was the current one. So in order to match Marty, they gave Doc the same style of base. Then up top, a regular crotch grabber. Oh, Hot Toys, y'all really stepped in it this time. I said this guy was controversial, and I meant it. This is one of the reasons why. Now, the plutonium case is quite sizable. I like the print, it's suitably metallic, there's some dirt and grime around the edges, you've got some proper functional clasps that hold the lid closed, and they're sculpted plastic. The corner protectors also sculpted, the handles are sculpted too, but they're non-functional, they're fixed in position. Unfortunately though, the real issue here is this is cardboard. All of this detail, it's just printed on a 2D plane. That means if this somehow gets wet in a flood perhaps, then it's going to degrade very, very quickly, so please be careful. Now you can open up the lid to reveal these plutonium cores. One is removable, the rest are unfortunately fake, they're fixed in position. You can remove the red section in the middle, and it's translucent plastic. You do get some stickers that you're supposed to stick on the foam, but I'm not a huge fan of stickers, so I'm not going to do that. You also have this clear plastic clamshell piece that's supposed to hold the lid up. That is super ugly, Hot Toys. Yeah, it's a no from me. Is this immediately a deal breaker, like I referenced earlier in the video? Well, once again, that's up to you, but for me, it's not ideal. Some people were probably expecting me to absolutely rip into this figure and say, this is the worst thing ever. That box is unacceptable for the price point, and yeah, I think it is, but I don't think it's this figure's biggest crime. What is the biggest crime? Well, stay tuned. That's coming up, don't you worry. Now, he does come with this tool pouch. I don't think it's made of pleather. It kind of feels like vinyl, so fingers crossed it's going to be a little bit more sturdy than pleather. The instructions show you where to put everything, including this roll of tape. It kind of just slides through this piece. It's a really clever attachment. Now, all of these tools are removable. Unfortunately, none of them are made of metal. Now, we could go through every single one, but I'll save that for when you get this, because there are a whole bunch of them. There's a T-square, there's pliers, there's a torch. Like I said, there's a lot. Hovering back around to the positives. See what I did there? Hover converted DeLorean. I am so sorry once again. I love this remote control. It's super detailed. We've got 88 miles per hour up top. Of course we do. The DeLorean has traveled back in time. Around the back, all of these kind of decal prints and a bunch of wiring. I like how crisp and clean the sculpt work is, plus all of the details are beautifully printed, even though they're really teeny tiny. Now up top we do have an antenna. It's not made of metal, it does feel a little bit fragile, so once again, please be careful. You also get this kind of futuristic looking clipboard with some buttons up top. Maybe they're calculators, who knows? You also get some fully printed sheets of paper, including a MSDS, of course. He's conducting an experiment. Every good scientist knows you need one. Now, unfortunately, this clip isn't functional. That means these papers are kind of free floating. I would have liked if you could slide them in and lock them in position, because as it stands, they do stand a chance of simply sliding off. Some of the smaller accessories here are just that, really small. You get some forceps plus a wooden peg and this kind of bulldog style clip. All of these are part of the outfit, and I'll pop them on him a little bit later. You do get two different stopwatches. Technically, this one on the right is meant for Einstein, who isn't included in this set for some reason, not entirely sure why. Then you get this one that's attached to this very 80s looking pouch. It is made of fabric, it's kind of metallic with some dirt and grime on the surface. You can remove this doohickey in the middle, and you do have to insert this string down below, but it's not really secure. It does like to fall out. Now, hopefully when you have this around his neck like you're supposed to, it won't, but I dig the print and the stretchy cable. It feels very authentic, just shrunk down to 1/6 scale. We're almost there. I'm super curious to check out the dock myself, but you do get a bunch more stuff. You get some pens, and yes, this piece is very thin. It's inside this pen or pocket protector, but this does need to slide into his pocket, so it makes sense it's a little bit thinner. You also get two more pieces of paper, one being a map and the other being a notebook. Now, there isn't any sketching or writing on the inside, but all the pages are fully printed with a bunch of lines. Two of the coolest things here, in my opinion, are the watches. Not because there's a bunch of detail to write home about, but because of how they work and what they do to the figure. What do I mean by saying that? Well, when you slide them on, they hide the wrist pegs and make him look even more realistic. One is this shiny silver, kind of Casio-looking watch, and the other has a very interesting wire and this clip that goes around his finger. That's not something I ever noticed in the movie, but I guess I do have to go back and check, because if Hot Toys did it, then they clearly got that reference from somewhere. And lastly, another disappointment, at least for me, we only get 2 extra hands. I'm not sure why. We could have had closed fists and open palm hands and splayed out finger hands for crazy gestures, but no, we only get this kind of soft gripping hand and this one that's doing a little bit of a gesture, meant to hold the remote control. Overall, I'm not very happy with the array of hands. Now, I do like the sculpt and the skin texture, but they kind of look like hands of a younger man. What do I mean by saying that? Well, there's not a bunch of liver spots and skin texture and wrinkles, but don't forget, for Back to the Future 1, Christopher Lloyd wasn't old. It was just makeup that made him look old. So I guess this is kind of accurate to the actor himself. What we are going to do now, though, is get Doc Brown himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses, but wearing a bunch of accessories, because they're essential to complete the look. Let's be honest, you're not going to take Doc Brown out of the box and not pop on the paperwork and the pens and the tool belt and the forceps and just pop him in the display. He would look way too boring. When you do pop all the stuff on, though, it comes together beautifully. It's this crazy, eclectic mix of tools and technology and scientific equipment. It's very Doc Brown. Now, his proportions are really good. I think, I could be wrong, but I reckon this is a brand new body. And that's why they cheaped out on the head sculpt and the box, because all of the budget went to the body. Again, I could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling. The outfit is kind of crisp and clean, but I don't think he was all that dirty in the movie, and even from a distance, it looks accurate to me. We do have to address the head sculpt, though. Yes, it is reused from Back to the Future 2, but I don't know what to tell you. Even once again from a distance, it looks like Doc Brown. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the head sculpt first. Now, yes, it's goofy, it's wacky, the expression is out there, but that's Doc. He looks like this in the movie. He makes this expression a lot in the trilogy. I dig the skin texture. It's nicely painted. He even has some little teeth tucked up under his top lip. The hair is big and full. It's not too light and it's not too dark either. But where it falls apart for me is this right here. Hot Toys, why didn't you all cover the holes? What am I talking about? Well, they reused this head sculpt from Back to the Future 2, Doc. I'm actually totally fine with that, but the Back to the Future 2 version had some sunnies where this one doesn't. They didn't opt to cover the holes up, though. They left them there. And his hair is quite light, so when the shadow is cast in those crevices, they're really visible. From a distance, maybe it's not so egregious, but I don't know. For me, it's 100% the biggest crime here. Not the fact that they reused the head sculpt, but that they didn't patch the holes. If y'all were hoping I was going to disavow this guy immediately just because he reuses a head sculpt, I'm sorry, I'm not going to. I like this head sculpt, like I said just before. But I have shown you it up close, and you can make up your own mind. Just because our opinions differ doesn't mean either one of us are wrong. Now, his outfit on paper is pretty simple. It's a white and orange jumpsuit with a couple of pockets, a long sleeve cream shirt underneath, and a Hawaiian shirt for good measure. A little bit of flair is always a good thing. You can undo the zipper if you so choose, or do it up entirely. It's not fixed in position. Now, in order to get that baggy look, the jumpsuit itself isn't actually all that baggy. Hot Toys have been quite clever. They've used padding. So that means it looks like it's just falling off him, like he's this skinny dude wearing this big jumpsuit, but it's actually quite form-fitting. Around the back, we also have that nuclear symbol. It's printed. Now, I'm sure some people will remove the padding. Entirely up to you if you choose to do that, and then the jumpsuit will be baggier, but maybe his belt will be a little bit too loose. You also have to install all the bits and pieces, such as this clip and the map and the pens and this notepad down below, but follow the instructions. It's not all that hard to do. Like we discussed in the accessory segment, he comes with 2 watches, one for either side. That means from a distance in the display, the wrist pegs, they're not visible. He looks almost entirely seamless from head to toe. I also like how this cable comes around and attaches to his finger. Once again, not something I remember, but it's a neat touch. The belt I do have sagging down on one side, because if you think about it, these tools would be pretty heavy. So this is adjustable. You can slide it down and kind of give it the illusion of some added weight, where in reality, there's none. The tools are all plastic. You also have this string or cable that attaches to the little stopwatch around his neck. I did kind of futz with it a little, but you can take this way further and customize it to however you want it to look. His pants are genuinely baggy, unlike the upper torso where it's form-fitting. There's a lot of excess material here, and it looks like multiple layers, but I'm pretty sure this black piece, it's not a separate pair of pants, it's kind of attached around the cuff. It's a faux piece of fabric. We do also have some white socks, and his shoes are sculpted well. Now, I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be either Nikes or something else. Let me know down below, Back to the Future aficionados, I'm sure you will. I dig the stitching and the subtle wrinkling, plus the laces, they look good. There's also some dirt and grime all the way around, including on the underside for the sculpted tread. For a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Back to the Future 1 Doc on the left, and on the right, also Doc, but from Back to the Future 2. Now, Future Doc is the shorter of the two. That's because his boots have some very thin soles, whereas Jumpsuit Doc has some thick soles on his sneakers. Also, his neck is a little bit longer because his collar is really high. Therefore, they had to accommodate it just a bit. Now, they do have the exact same head sculpt, but in order to combat that in my display, I'm going to have Future Doc wearing the sunglasses, whereas Back to the Future 1 Doc, he doesn't have that choice. He's going without. One of the reasons I keep 1.0 versions of figures is for moments like this. I can show you Doc Brown compared to original Marty and the new one. Now, original Marty is shorter than Doc, as he should be. Even though I prefer the 2.0 Marty, this works really well. If you have the DeLorean or you're thinking about putting together a Back to the Future display, yeah, this totally gets the job done. However, this is my preferred option. It's the new Marty. I prefer the tailoring, I prefer the head sculpt, and he comes with Einstein, which is a nice touch. Now, he's also shorter than Doc. Ignore the skateboard, it's not adding any real height here. So in my display, for those wondering, these two are 100% being displayed together. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the reused head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball joint down below, looking forward to there, looking back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. Now if you tilt it back and notice, oh no, visible neck connector, yeah I see it too. But don't worry, you can simply slide the shirt up and it's gone. With all figures, you will have to do a little bit of futzing. The arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back, limited due to the padding. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Single ratcheted bend at the elbow that also incorporates a swivel. Plus a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. The torso will crunch forward and back, swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, but it's fighting you. Will you be able to get this guy in the DeLorean? I hope so. They will go out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee going the full way, and lastly, a double ball peg down here for the ankle. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing, I'm sure to literally nobody's surprise, is the cardboard plutonium box. Now this is a sign of cheapness that I never want to see again. Hot Toys, if you're giving us accessories like this, something that the figure interacts with, well, it can't be cardboard, it has to be sculpted. Now you may be thinking, well it looks okay, and yeah it does, but it doesn't even work well. You have to use these plastic things to hold it open, and you have to stick the stickers on. Yeah, it's just not for me. The second annoying thing is, they forgot to patch the holes in his hair. They reused this head sculpt from Back to the Future 2 Doc, who comes with some very stylish sunglasses, hence the holes that they slot into, but this guy doesn't come with glasses. Therefore, I was 100% thinking, oh, they're going to patch the holes no problem. They're not going to leave these big crevices that cast a kind of dark shadow in his very white hair, but they did, and it's unsightly. The third annoying thing is we only get 2 extra hands. No closed fist, no hand so he can kind of look at his wrist to check the watch. We get this gesturing hand and this semi-grip hand, but that's it. The first cool thing is cross-compatibility. I love when we get accessories that go with older figures from the same line. It kind of rewards you for sticking with the line. Now, in order to use the stopwatch with Einstein, you simply remove his noggin, slide the stopwatch on, and pop his head back on. And now he's wearing it. I do like that it sits below his fur, kind of like it's slotted in between the fur, as it would if this was a real dog. The second cool thing is, even though Doc Brown came out way later than the first version of Marty and a full year later than the 2.0, his base is still consistent with Marty. It's the old school oval style display base, and they match really well. The third cool thing is the outfit. Now, the jumpsuit is simple and very clean, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot more to it than just the jumpsuit. There's multiple layers, there's the shirt, there's the Hawaiian shirt, you've got the pins, you've got the clips, you've got the belt. It all comes together really nicely, and there's a lot to look at here. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Doc Brown from Back to the Future 1. Going into this, I was so skeptical. A reused head sculpt with holes in the side of his head that serves no purpose, plus a cardboard box for the plutonium case. I thought I was going to despise this thing, but he's won me over. This, in my opinion, is one of those times where even though a figure has certain hang-ups here and there, when you look at the entire thing, with the accessories and the outfit, and yes, even the head sculpt, it kind of becomes greater than the sum of its parts. At least it has for me. I have shown you this guy up close in 4K and shown you all of the accessories, so if you then watch this video and decide, hey, it's not for me, totally fine. We don't all like everything, and we don't have to either. So hopefully I have helped you make your decision on whether or not to pick this guy up, whether it's one way or the other. I'm super happy to have Doc Brown from Back to the Future 1. I would have loved a new head sculpt, but this one works for me. Even though those holes, yes, they are egregious. They should never have been here. I am going to try and patch them myself and match the paint apps, but you're totally right, I shouldn't have to. If someone comes out with a custom head sculpt for Doc Brown, I'm going all the way in. I need that custom head sculpt because I want my Doc Browns to look different from one another. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.